Let's get into what that is, okay? It's going to break down to non-actualized versus actualized action. This is the cycle or the pattern of how we behave as human beings. The first thing that creates our life is that we have a thought. And studies suggest that the brain creates between 6,000 and 60 thoughts per day. So you're going to have, you are not your thoughts. You are, but you're not, right? That's your brain's job. Okay, what your job is as you become an adult is to sift and filter through those thoughts to decide which ones you're going to dwell on. Because ultimately, those thoughts are going to create an emotion, which is then going to create a certain state or environment, right? Which then is going to lead to your actions, which then is going to lead to your rituals, which then is going to build your belief system, which then is going to go back into your thoughts. It's a cycle. And as you get older and become more aware, which again, watch this. Most people just live their life in this cycle and never step back to intervene. The thoughts that are created from their childhood, again, combining the 6 perspectives of psychology, which I believe all of them have truth. And they're not in competition with each other. There's truth in all of them, right? They're just different approaches that different psychologists have created over the years in terms of how they understand human beings. There's truth to all of them, and they all work, and they all make sense, and they're all practiced by psychologists and psychiatrists and therapists and life coaches and teachers and healers all over the world, right? Doctors, okay? This cycle that you're looking at right here, this kind of non-actualized action, is what I've kind of coined this cycle that we sort of live in unconsciously, where we just, I'm insecure, or I'm afraid of public speaking. We never even question, why are we? What you're doing right now is stepping out of this cycle, and I'm going to show you exactly how you're stepping out of it and what the solution is to building the new you and the best version of you. Watch how simple this is. It's a little intervention where you add awareness in between your environment and your actions. So you're going to have a thought, which is going to lead to an emotion. This all happens very fast, by the way, which creates your environment and your state. And most people just move right to an action. They act on those thoughts and emotions without thinking, stepping back and having awareness around, where did that thought come from? Where did this pattern come from? Where did this limiting belief? Why am I thinking like that? That's what you're doing right now in this course. You're actually gaining awareness. Now, the actions, actualized means act, right? Make reality of. Instead of just acting blindly, you're going to actualize the result that you want. So based on that awareness and this new awareness that you're getting in this course, you're going to actualize what you want by taking a different action than you've taken in the past, which is going to create a new ritual. Today, starting today, you can create new rituals. Over the course of these last few lessons, you've developed some new affirmations or some mission statements. These are things that you say which can create a new action, because now you're aware. It's like, damn, I need to stop walking around saying I can't afford that, right? That's limiting beliefs. Who did I get that from? Okay, this is my mission statement. It's that I'm going to take all of my life experience and turn my struggles into my strengths, or whatever your mission statement is. Now you act on something different, which creates a new ritual, which as you do it over time, creates a new belief system, which then influences your thoughts. And what's cool about the way that just simple awareness, and I think I said this in earlier lessons, awareness is the key to change. If you're not aware of it, you can't act on something new. And that's why most people just live life in a kind of cycle of unconsciousness. But let me get to the punchline here. Here's the bottom line. You cannot think yourself into a new way of acting, my friend. You must actualize yourself into a new way of thinking. You must act. You must act yourself into a new way of thinking. This is the punchline of this whole course. You can't just think about this stuff and hope and expect that it's going to change. That's not how this works. You actually have to act on everything that you've learned in here. And as you act on it, things will change. You will literally, and this is proven in medical science, rewire the neural pathways in your brain. Those are the little beliefies. Those are the beliefy pathways that build your belief system, the neural pathways. They're the little highways in your brain that you have paved through thinking the same way for decades. But those can be rewired and changed. Okay? How? Not through sitting around thinking about it. Not even through affirmations. You have to say the affirmation. You have to rehearse the mission statement. And then you have to act on something new. Now, where did I learn this from? I actually learned this getting clean from drugs. Now, I know we learn the most powerful lessons sometimes from the damnedest situations. But I actually learned this in 12-step recovery. I was trying to get clean from heroin, and I could not get clean. No matter what I kept relapsing. And it was because I thought I was smart enough to beat it. I thought I could just think my way into a new way of acting. And I had somebody who had told him, many generations of sponsors or mentors said, David, you cannot think your way into a new way of acting. That's not how this works. Doesn't matter how smart you are. See, I believe that you're watching this and you're smart. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. And I believe that you've actually fooled yourself in the past into thinking that you could think your way into a new way of acting. But guess what? Thinking only created overcomplication and overthinking and procrastination and paralyzation. What you need to do is think just enough to be aware of your thoughts and create a new thought by rehearsing an affirmation to combat that old limiting belief and then act on that affirmation. So if your affirmations are money flows to me easily and effortlessly, you need to act like that. If your affirmation is I'm a leader, I'm confident, and I can handle any situation, you actually need to act on it. Now, what's going to happen as you act on it? You're going to be scared. You're going to be anxious. You're going to feel like you're freaking out inside. The same way that a baby does the first time that they walk. They probably are freaking out, right? Like it's probably like the most exhilarating, anxiety-ridden experience. It's like when you first start to ride a bike. Do you remember that? You probably don't remember when you first started trying to walk, but do you remember when you first started trying to ride a bike? Do you remember anything the first time that you did it? Think about that right now. Think about the first time that you met your spouse, when you went up to them, how nervous you were, how hard that is, how much you were freaking out. Or something else, the first day that you started a job, you were freaking out. You went into the interview, you didn't know anybody. Now you just waltz in there like you own the place. Why? Because you acted yourself into that new way of thinking. You didn't think yourself into that. You didn't sit on the couch and become confident being around your spouse or become confident. And I know this is simple. It's like, really? That's the punchline? That's the punchline. But see, you're not doing the things that you're afraid of because your limiting beliefs have created negative self-talk, and you talk yourself out of it every time. That's why we've built up to this point, because now you have the tools. You're aware of your thinking. You're aware of where that thinking started and came from, because I've asked you to go back into your life and dig up some of that stuff and create counter intelligence in a way. So when that old thinking comes up, you have something new to combat it with. When you say, I'm not worthy, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, people are not going to like it, they can succeed, but I can't, right? Must be nice for them to be able to do it. No, that's your old thinking. You're going to combat that with a counter, more powerful thought, which is an affirmation and a mission statement. And then you are going to act on that. See, you can't just say the affirmation. You got to act on it. Now, here's the hit. Just like with that job, just like with that relationship, just like when you first started to ride that bike, just like when you first started to walk, you were freaked out. You're going to be freaked out when you go to start posting videos or whatever the actions that you need to take in your life are, or your business. You're going to be freaked out. But now you have the tools to counter those old, and you have the awareness, right? You have the awareness to now act and actualize, right? To make reality of what you want to happen. And so you cannot think yourself into a new way of acting, my friend. None of us are that smart. It feels like we are, and it's so frustrating because we know what we need to do so many times, don't you? You know what you need to do. Why don't you do it then? Because old limiting beliefs, negative self-talk, and trying to think ourselves into a new way of acting is the way in which we have been programmed to live. And you are now breaking that chain. You are like that elephant who is realizing, holy crap, I'm looking down at my foot. I've been walking around with a dinky little chain that I've thought was literally strong enough to hold me down. And I realize that these are all just things that I've made up or that I've just believed sort of unconsciously. And I am now going to actualize the results that I want by acting myself into a new way of thinking. I've attached down below in the assignment section an additional guided visualization to help to concrete some of these new lessons that we've been experiencing and learning together. And I want you to listen to that on a daily basis as many times as you want. This is going to be a process of both reprogramming the subconscious brain from the inside as well as acting yourself into a new way of thinking on the outside. And as you do, very quickly, you are going to be able to see results doing this. Very quickly, literally the first time that you take the action that you've been so scared of and you realize there's no boogeyman, you are going to feel confidence. Now, it's not the utmost pinnacle of the confidence that you can feel, but you're going to feel a little result. That's dopamine. That's all of the good chemicals being released. We get fake hits of dopamine from like scrolling our phones or doing drugs or alcohol or other things that are unnatural ways in which we fool ourselves into feeling good. This confidence that comes from taking the actions that you're afraid of and making progress in your life are the wonderful natural chemicals that will get released and get you addicted to facing your fears and running towards the things that scare you instead of away from them. Now, today is the beginning of that journey. And so as we move into day 5, I want you to listen to that guided visualization. I want you to use these tools, and I want you to remember this lesson.